Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys a quick video. I know I haven't really been making videos all that much. It's mainly, it's because it's the holidays, and the holidays are always a pretty busy time of year. So that's pretty much why I haven't done a lot of videos lately. I know I'm behind on a lot of things when it comes to wrestling shows. I finally caught up, but then um, things came up, and I'm pretty much kind of back to where I was. Um, so that's kind of you know, where I am with that. Um, but this is pretty much going to be my last video of 2019 where I sit down and talk about a wrestling topic. I am going to do my channel update video right after I record this. But, that's basically, this was basically the last thing where I'm going to talk about a professional wrestling topic. Not really what I pictured would be my last one, but that's just the way life works sometimes. So let's get um, right into the video. So as you can tell from the title, um, I'm going to give my votes on the NXT year-end awards for 2019. I do this about every year. I'll either do it as part of the Wrestling Rundown or just as its own video. And, I figured since I can't really do a rundown right now and such, I'll just make it its own video. This way I can get my thoughts on it because I probably won't be able to before this episode airs. And I'll talk about why when I do my channel update video. Uh, but yeah, let's get this video started pretty much. Um, so yeah, this is the year-end awards for NXT for this year. Um, this might be one of the best years NXT has had. I don't know if it's my personal favorite year. I prefer maybe a little more 2018 and maybe 2015, just because those were big years for NXT as well. But as terms as business wise and such, this was the biggest year that NXT has had. Since they went on USA Network live every week for 2 hours. They were a huge part of Survivor Series this year, and integrated with the main roster a lot, and they were kind of starting to be seen as a third brand. So yeah, this was a pretty big year for NXT. They actually got that match, at halftime heat that aired during the Super Bowl on the WWE Network. So that's a pretty big deal as well. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna go over these awards. It's a lot of standard stuff, like match of the year and the typical NXT awards we get every year. So I'll go through each one of them and give my thoughts of what I think should win each category. I know this is like a fan vote, so a lot of people are gonna vote for what they want, but let's see what happens. So let's go through this year-end awards. So starting with match of the year, um, they didn't put as many as they did last year. They put a lot last year. And this is also from NXT UK as well. They don't have a lot of NXT UK inclusion, but it is a decent amount. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Even though everyone knows how I feel about NXT UK since Cardiff. So there you go. But let's go over these awards. So we have Match of the Year from NXT TakeOver War Games. It's the women's War Game match between Team Ripley and Team Baszler. I also want to say too, I forgot to mention, I have not seen NXT from last week, so this might be a little bit of a dated video, but I can still talk about this. But yeah, so it's the women's War Games match from NXT TakeOver War Games between Team Baszler and Team Ripley. On Team Ripley was captained by Rhea Ripley. Also on it was Candice LeRae and Team Kick. And they faced, obviously, Team Baszler. And on Team Baszler was Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kaylee Ray. Then we have a match from NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff for the WWE United Kingdom Championship, where Walter defended the championship against Tyler Bate. Then we have a match from NXT June 26th. It's a steel cage match for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler defended against Io Shirai. Then we have a match from NXT TakeOver Toronto 2. Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai. We have another match from NXT TakeOver Toronto 2. It's a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Championship. Adam Cole defending against Johnny Gargano. We have a match from NXT TakeOver Phoenix for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong defending against the War Raiders. I know that's not what their names are on this thing, but that's what I'm calling them because that's what they were in NXT. Then we have a match from NXT TakeOver New York. A 2 out of 3 falls match for the vacant NXT Championship. Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. Then we have a match from NXT TakeOver 25. A Fatal 4-Way ladder match for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships. The Street Profits versus Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. We have a main roster match on here. It's a match from Survivor Series for the NXT Championship. Adam Cole defending against Pete Dunne. Then we have a match from NXT August 28th. Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic. Then we have a match from NXT September 18th. A Fatal 4-Way match to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship. Candice LeRae versus Bianca Belair versus Io Shirai versus Mia Yim. Then we have a match from NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. A triple threat match for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Grizzled Young Veterans defending against Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. Also defended against Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. Yeah, so I like that they don't have as many matches on here. What I'll do is I say matches that I kind of wish were on here. Like, I wish the match between Matt Riddle and Adam Cole for the NXT Championship from October 2nd was on here. I also wish, I'm trying to think of like other matches off the top of my head. The first Dominic Dijakovic and Keith Lee match was on here. I wish Pete Dunne versus Walter for the NXT UK Championship was on here. From NXT TakeOver New York. Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey from NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool. And those are a couple, that I can think of. That triple threat match between Roderick Strong, Keith Lee, and Dijakovic for the North American title. So those are some I can think of off the top of my head. But I'm just going to go with based on what's on here. I'm going to do process of elimination. So I'm going to say no on the triple threat tag team match for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships at Cardiff. Mainly because I didn't really like the way the finish went down and stuff like that. So I'm going to say no on that. I'm going to say I do really like the Io Shirai Shayna Baszler steel cage match. I think that's great, but it doesn't quite live up to some of these other matches on the show. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to say no on the Survivor Series match between Adam Cole and Pete Dunne. I really like that match, but if the fans had been more into it, maybe it'd be in contention for it. But I understand why that one's, a nomination. I'll say no on the ladder match, even though it was an awesome callback. I like the 4-Way a lot. I get why that's here, because that was NXT's first match on USA Network, but I'm just going to say no on that one. So that leaves me with the Women's War Games match. The UK Championship match from NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai. The 2 out of 3 falls matches between Gargano and Cole. Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic. And, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to get rid of the Women's War Games match because I really like that match, but it's not as good as these other matches on the show. I'm going to get rid of Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai. Really love that match, but we got to do process of elimination. So that leaves me with the 2 out of 3 falls matches and Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic. I'm going to get rid of the Gargano Cole 2 out of 3 falls match from NXT TakeOver Toronto because that match is awesome, but it's not as good as the other one and Keith Lee Dijakovic. So that leaves me with Keith Lee versus Dijakovic and the 2 out of 3 falls match from NXT TakeOver New York. And I'm going to go with the 2 out of 3 falls match from NXT TakeOver New York. I think that's an awesome match. Even though it wasn't the match we were meant to have for the NXT Championship because, Tommaso Ciampa went out due to the injury. But I think, though, it was a culmination of over a year-long story of Johnny Gargano trying to finally chase for that NXT championship. He had tried for so long and, you know, continuously failed, and he had gone through all these trials and tribulations with the DIY breakup, the feud with Tommaso Ciampa, the losing streak a little after the DIY breakup, just being injured, kayfabe wise and such. And the way that match was laid out, with Johnny Gargano finally winning the championship, that's the one I'm going with. So, yeah, my pick is NXT Takeover New York, Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole for the vacant NXT championship. All right, next category we have future star of NXT. So this is who we think will be a future star in NXT. We have Cameron Grimes, Kushida, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai, Xia Li, Tanara, Bronson Reed, and Ilya Dragunov. They've been pretty behind these guys, throughout this year and such. If I had to get rid of somebody, I'm gonna get rid of first Ilya Dragunov. I think he'll be decent in NXT UK, but I don't think he'll be quite that future star. I'm gonna get rid of Tanara. I still think she has a lot of work, and I think she'll get there, but she's not going to get to the level of some of these other people on this list. I'm going to get rid of Xia Li. They've been pretty behind her because she's like the first Chinese superstar, but I don't think she'll get to the level of some of these other people on the list. I'm going to get rid of Bronson Reed. I could see him actually doing some pretty cool stuff, maybe in NXT UK and such, but I don't think he's going to get to the level of some of these other people, so that leaves us with Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Kushida, and Cameron Grimes. I'm going to get rid of Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think he'll be pretty huge at NXT, but I don't think he's going to get to the level of some of these other people on here. And that leaves us, obviously, with the ladder. I'm going to get rid of Tegan Knox. I think she'll be pretty huge, but like I said, won't get to the level of some of these other people. And that leaves us with Dakota Kai, Kushida, and Cameron Grimes. Because of Dakota Kai's heel turn, I think she's, going to be pretty huge. And Kushida, they've really signed him, and I think he would have won Breakout Star if he didn't get injured for a couple months. And then Cameron Grimes, they've really been behind. He's in a feud right now with Kushida. And they seem to really be building him up for something big. I'm going to get rid of Cameron Grimes, though. I don't think he'll get to the level of Kushida or Dakota Kai. And I'm actually going to give it to Kushida. I think they have some huge plans for him. I think he'll end up winning the NXT North American Championship from Roderick Strong at some point. I think he could end up winning the NXT Cruiserweight Championship from Angel Garza. I think that you could do a lot with Kushida. I think they really seem to be behind him. Alright, then we have TakeOver of the Year. We have NXT TakeOver Phoenix, NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, NXT TakeOver New York, NXT TakeOver 25, NXT TakeOver Toronto, NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, and NXT TakeOver War Games. Getting rid of War Games. Everyone knows how I feel about that show. I know everyone loves it, but I'm not one of those people. So that one's gone. So yeah, Cardiff is gone. I love all these other ones, so it's kind of like a process of elimination. TakeOver Phoenix is great, but I think out of the USA NXTs, it's probably the worst out of the ones, but that's just graded on a curve. I'll get rid of Blackpool. I don't think the UK takeovers were, as good as some, the USA ones. Toronto, I already got rid of Toronto. So then we have 25 and New York. These were awesome shows. I really loved them. I'm going to give it to NXT TakeOver New York, though. I think it was just, everything was clicking. You had that awesome tag team championship match between Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the War Raiders. You had the awesome North American championship match between Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream. You had, Johnny Gargano finally winning the NXT championship. That awesome fatal four-way match between, Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai and Bianca Belair. And you also had the awesome United Kingdom title match between Pete Dunne and Walter. Pete Dunne had finally lost the championship after holding it for over 2 years. So I'm going to give it to NXT TakeOver New York. Alright, then we have Breakout Star of the Year. We have Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, Matt Widow, Candice LeRae, Damian Priest, Angel Garza, Rhea Ripley, Joe Coffey, and Piper Niven. So I'm going to get rid of Piper Niven because she really didn't do that much this year, and I didn't really think she looked very impressive. I'm going to get rid of Joe Coffey. He did very well in the beginning of the year, but I think once he got into a feud with Dave Mastiff, that's kind of where everything fell for me for him. So that leaves us with everybody else. Keith Lee really looked good this year. He had those awesome matches with Dominic Dijakovic and Damian Priest. Even though he went out due to an injury this year, I don't really think that hindered his momentum. I think once NXT went to USA Network, it really benefited him. He was really able to showcase himself, showcase that personality, and I think really what made it for him was Survivor Series weekend when he went and had an impressive showing at War Games, and then had an impressive showing in that men's Survivor Series match, and lasted all the way to the end for the NXT team, eliminated Seth Rollins. So I could see Keith Lee winning that. Dominic Dijakovic, about the same thing. I don't think I might eliminate him because I don't think he had as good of a year as Keith Lee. I think he would have if he didn't go out due to an injury. Matt Riddle did some great stuff this year. He had some awesome matches with Roderick Strong, Velveteen Dream, Killian Dane, Finn Balor, and Adam Cole. But he didn't really so he could win. Candice LeRae really looked good this year. She had that awesome match with Io Shirai, and she really kind of came into her own as a women's superstar. Damian Priest came in and had a great entrance and a great character, so he could win. And then Angel Garza came in the breakout tournament, made it all the way to the finals, and then won the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. So he could win. I don't think I'm going to give it to Angel Garza quite yet, though. I think he looked great, but I think he didn't break out as much as some of these other superstars. Same thing with Damian Priest. So that leaves Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, and Candice LeRae. And I might not get this right, but I'm going to go with Keith Lee. I think that Survivor Series weekend really made Keith Lee look strong. Because he didn't just do that. He had a face-off with Braun Strowman. He had a big dive at the end of Raw before that. So I'm giving it to Keith Lee. And then we have Rivalry of the Year. We have Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler, British Strong Style versus Imperium, and Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong. One thing that should be on here is Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic with the matches that they had this year. I don't know why that one's not there, but everything else deserves to be here. So I'm going to eliminate British Strong Style versus Imperium. That feud was incredible, with Walter turning heel and joining forces with Fabian Aichner and Marcel Bartel, and then they had that awesome 6-man tag where Alexander Wolf joined the group. You had them basically kick Pete Dunne out of NXT UK, and then they continued it with British Strong Style, well, not British, but Mustache Mountain versus Fabian Eichner versus Imperium. But it kind of ended out of nowhere. All of a sudden, even though the Tyler Bate thing had a conclusive ended, all of a sudden, Trent Seven didn't really care about the title, so that didn't really make it much sense. But everything else deserves to be here. The Rhea Ripley Shayna Baszler feud is still in progress, but it's been awesome. But I'm going to eliminate that one. Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong was a very good. But I think if Velveteen Dream didn't go out due to an injury, that could have possibly won it. So it leaves Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, and Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. I'm going to give it to Gargano and Cole. They had a amazing trilogy of matches. The feud got pretty personal when Adam Cole went to Johnny Gargano's hometown after he won the title, and rubbed it in his father's face and his wrestling school's face. So I'm gonna give it to Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Then we have Tag Team of the Year. We have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, the Street Profits, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Flash Morgan Webster, and the War Raiders. So I'm going to eliminate the War Raiders, even though they were NXT Tag Team Champions and left undefeated. They weren't there all year, so I can't really give it to them. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews didn't team all year, and I'm not a huge fan of that tag team, so I'm going to give rid of that one. Grizzled Young Veterans could be in contention because they were the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions, and they dominated that brand for like 5 months, just taking out teams like Orny Lorcan and Danny Burch, Noam Dar and Kenny Williams, and Mustache Mountain. But they just weren't on the same level as the Street Profits or Fish and O'Reilly, so I can't really give it to them. But they were definitely in third place. The Street Profits, did great this year. They had great matches with, the Forgotten Sons. They took the War Raiders to the limit toward the end of their NXT run. They were one of the first teams to show up on both Raw and SmackDown with the titles and become charismatic that way. They won the NXT Tag Team Champions at NXT Takeover 25 and retained them at NXT Takeover Toronto 2. But I just don't think anyone got to near the level as Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Even though they didn't team all year this year, they won the tag titles and became the first ever 3-time tag team champions. Kyle O'Reilly 4 times since, he held it with Roderick Strong twice. They had amazing matches with Keith Lee and Dijakovic, the Street Profits, Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. They had that awesome triple threat tag title match with, Kofi Kingston and Big E and the Viking Raiders. So I'm going to give it to Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Then we have Female Competitor of the Year. You have Io Shirai, Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm, and Bianca Belair. I'm going to get rid of Toni Storm. I know she won the NXT UK Women's Championship this year and, hold that title a good portion of the year, but her title reign really wasn't anything special, so I'm not going to give it to Toni Storm. Bianca Belair had an awesome year. She, went for the title a few times and such, and was undefeated most of the year, had awesome matches with Mia Yim. But I don't think she had as good of a year as some of the others. She had a better year than Kaylee Ray. I don't think Kaylee Ray really had that good of the year. Yeah, she won the NXT UK Women's title, but I don't think she's really been that good in NXT UK. Honestly, like I said, her best run has been when she went to NXT for the build-up for the first ever Women's War Games match. That's the best, run she's had so far. So she had a better year than Kaylee Ray. So that leaves Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, and Io Shirai. Io Shirai, had an awesome feud with Shayna Baszler. She was in an awesome tag team with Kairi Sane as the Sky Pirates, and then had that awesome heel turn. Stole the show with Candice LeRae at NXT TakeOver Toronto 2. Got her own theme song with Poppy. And, was one of the sole survivors in the Survivor Series match with Team Ripley. Not quite. Didn't quite have, though, as good of a year as Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley. She definitely could win this award next year, but not quite. Rhea Ripley was the first NXT UK Women's Champion. She didn't win it, but she came in as the champion. And, immediately made an impact in NXT US when she came in and just had that awesome feud with Shayna Baszler. Went to SmackDown and defeated Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks in a triple threat match. Won War Games with a 2-on-4 advantage. And then went in Survivor Series and, won the Women's War Games match for her team with Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. And, possibly has a chance to dethrone Shayna Baszler. I haven't seen that episode of NXT yet. So she could win it. But I feel like Rhea Ripley didn't do much in the middle of the year when she was in NXT UK after dropping the title. She was in kind of a lackluster feud with Piper Niven. If she had gone to NXT right after she lost the title and possibly dethrone Shayna Baszler that way. Um, then I would make the argument for it, but I don't really think Rhea Ripley quite wins this award. I think it has to go to Shayna Baszler. She was awesome all year. She was an awesome heel. She had great matches with Bianca Belair, um, both members of the Sky Pirates, um, Candice LeRae, and just dominated NXT and just holding on her back all year with that title. With the NXT Women's Championship, she went to the main roster and defeated Becky Lynch and Bayley, both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions of their respective brands, in a triple threat match at Survivor Series in the main event. So I think it has to go to Shayna Baszler. Rhea Ripley's a close second, but not quite. She did a little bit more. I think Shayna Baszler did a little bit more than her. So, and she's the longest rated now cumulative NXT Women's Champion. So, there you go. Then we have the male competitor of the year. We have Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Velveteen Dream, Adam Cole, Walter, and Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate had some great matches in the tag division and singles, but he really didn't do all that much this year. So I can't give it to him. Walter looked great. He came in immediately and just looked like an opposing force and defeated Pete Dunne and ended his reign as NXT UK champion, and is basically just an undefeated, towering all of that title and just taking everybody out in his path. But I don't think he had as good of a year as some of the other four people on this list. Um, Velveteen Dream won the Worlds Collide tournament and for the right to challenge for any title he wanted. Challenged Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American title and defeated him, and held that title all the way up to September 18th, the longest reigning NXT North American champion. I think he has a slight edge over Roderick Strong, and just put on awesome matches with that title, whether it was against Tyler Breeze, Roderick Strong, Pete Dunne, or Matt Riddle. So you could give it to Velveteen Dream, but I don't think he quite had as good of a year as them. If he didn't get hurt, maybe, but he also got hurt towards the end of the year. Then it's down to DIY and Adam Cole. Tommaso Ciampa was out most of the year, so I can't give it to him. He started the year as NXT champion, and then obviously just recently returned and won the men's War Games match and went on the main roster to beat The Miz, but I think he was out most of the year. So it's down to Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Johnny Gargano had an awesome year. He became the first Triple Crown winner in NXT by winning the NXT North American Championship from Ricochet at NXT TakeOver Phoenix, and then eventually went on to win the NXT Championship. Just put on awesome matches all year. There was a reason he was called Johnny Takeover, but I think the one that wins it is Adam Cole. He became the second ever Triple Crown champion. And the NXT brand this year was really just built around Adam Cole. He looked awesome this year. He had an awesome showing in the Worlds Collide tournament, made it all the way to the semifinals, won that fatal 5-way match to get into the match at NXT TakeOver New York, won the title at NXT TakeOver 25, is still the champion. Did everything he said he was going to do when all the members of Undisputed Era fulfilled the prophecy and won the gold. Cut awesome promos this year. But I think what really makes Adam Cole win is his November. His November, he went to SmackDown and beat Daniel Bryan to retain his NXT championship. Had an awesome match with Seth Rollins for the title. Retained the championship on the October 2nd episode. I know this is in November, but against Matt Riddle in an awesome match. He was just taking over Raw and SmackDown, becoming the most talked about superstar. He, along with other members of Undisputed Era, beat the New Day and Heavy Machinery in a match. He had a ladder match that same week with Dominic Dijakovic and won. He went to NXT TakeOver War Games and tore it up in War Games. Even though he lost, he still went in there and sacrificed his body. Then he went to Survivor Series and retained his championship. The first superstar to go to a main pay-per-view, with a main roster pay-per-view, and put his title on the line and walk out champion. So I think it has to go to Adam Cole just for his November alone. I mean, he's still tearing it up. I don't know if he's still the champion, but um, Adam Cole wins just for that his November performance alone. Um, so yeah, and then as for who wins overall competitor of the year, so it's basically going to be between whoever I think will win, whoever wins the female and the male competitor, and that's really a tough one. As terms of my picks, because it could be Shayna Baszler versus Adam Cole, and they both had an awesome year. Uh, Especially once November comes into effect. But I think the slight edge goes to Adam Cole with all of his work this year. I think this Adam Cole's work's a bit deeper than Shayna Baszler's, but it really could go either way. But I prefer Adam Cole just a little bit more. I think he had just a better November than Shayna Baszler did. Yes, she went to the main event of Survivor Series, but I think that match isn't as well received as Adam Cole's match with Pete Dunne at Survivor Series. So that's my thoughts on that. And yeah, I'm just gonna go through and repeat the winners just because I was kind of rambling. So for match of the year, that goes for Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole in the 2 out of 3 Falls match from NXT TakeOver New York. For Future Star of the Year, that goes to Kushida. Takeover of the Year, that goes to NXT TakeOver New York. Breakout Star of the Year, that goes to Keith Lee. Rivalry of the Year, that goes to Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. Tag Team of the Year, that goes to Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Female Competitor of the Year, that goes to Shayna Baszler. Male Competitor of the Year, that goes to Adam Cole. And my pick for Overall Competitor of the Year, that goes to also Adam Cole. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back in a few minutes to give you my channel update video, and that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video so people watch it. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell. So that way, every time you upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.